Hello friends and welcome to my studio. Today I continue work on a sketch I had begun a couple of weeks ago, and so thank you for visiting and enjoy. Hello friends, this is another experiment with more gadgets, and I'm going to be dabbling a little bit on this one painting that I've been trying to finish now for at least a couple of weeks. And I'm trying out a new ring light, which has taken me 40 forevers to connect, because it came with many parts, and those many parts were actually the most complicated thing. And then finally trying to fix them into what I already had. So, but in looking at this painting after I walked away from it, I figured out that it's really crooked. I can straighten some of this once I take the misket off. I mean, hopefully I can anyway, but I'm going to be working at it nonetheless. And right now I'm getting some of my horizontal lines corrected. This is rugged terrain up here because this is the side of a mountain, and so it's not necessarily going to be a situation where it will be naturally straight, but I just like I said, experimenting with this light in conjunction with working on my video taping for art demonstration purposes. So. I'm going to be doing some ink work on top of this when I'm finished, so I can correct some things then, but for right now I want to do the best I can to make it right. I am using here a combination of Payne's Gray and purple mixture. I have my paint squeezed out so I don't have the name of the purple. There are ways to lift watercolor. Some of them more successful, for me that is, than others. So I think by golly I've got it. The source for this painting is from a photograph which I did not take, but I was given permission by my sweet niece, Alexandria Lamb. Thank you, Alexandria. So I hope to be finished with this before too much longer. But just giving my Facebook friends a little taste of what I've been up to. I started this when I was on my little mini vacation in Florida. So please stay tuned or come back again when I have completed this painting. And let's see what happened. Thank you for watching. Well, I think I finally have the camera angle right, and the light seems to be working for me. I wanted to say one little word about this orangey pink stuff, which I referred to earlier, and that is a product called Misket. At least that's what Grumbacher calls this. It's actually a resist, which means it resists the area from the paint that you want to remain white. So I'm going to be lifting that, and this stuff must be shaken pretty vigorously to get rid of that bright orange and make sure it's all blended in. You also want to make sure that you use a brush that is an old brush, and my usual practice is to carry a little piece of soap, usually something like you get in a motel, and I carry that with me, and I wet my brush and get plenty of soap in the brush before I dip it into this Misket, because if you don't, it will just ruin your brush. So you want to use an old brush and make sure it's got plenty of soap in it before you use this. And then you apply it, wait on it to dry. Now, the way to remove this is really two possibilities. One is this eraser. This stuff acts like rubber cement, and it will just lift right up when you go over it. And you see that it leaves the white paper. The other way that you can do this is to remove it with your thumb. It comes right up. So that's where I'm going to be working today, and I'm going to pretty much speed up this film because it can be a bit tedious, but I just wanted to catch you up on where I am in my working process today. So hang in there with me, and I'll be back at some point. Before I continue to do some work on this painting, I want to take a moment for a little advertisement. I sent off for a mug that has one of my paintings on it. I think you might be getting some glare, but I'm so excited about this, and I can order this for anyone, and I can have any of my paintings applied to mugs. This is a mouse pad from one of my fluid art paintings, and I really like this. I know a lot of people are not using mouse pads now because they're either working on their iPad or their iPhone or their cell phone. But at any rate, this is just one small possibility for ordering from my website. Now back to the work at hand. Well, interestingly enough, I discovered once I went back to my my beginning photograph that in fact these waterfalls and these lines here actually are slanted. Because of the angle in which the photograph was taken. But I'm going to stick to my guns here and try to make everything as parallel as possible so that my water doesn't look like it's falling in the wrong way. So it's perfectly acceptable, maybe even advisable, to change from your reference photograph and make the painting your own. Basically, you're doing that anyway. So just a little note here, if you're following along, you're not going to be seeing this photograph anyway. Well, I am back. I took the tape off of my painting where I was working just to make sure I could straighten this up. I am attempting to straighten it up so it'll be parallel to the sides. But I have two white pens. This one is a jelly roll pen. Not sure if you can see that. And the other one is a Pentel Milky Pop. And these are okay, but not a sufficient substitute for the white paper itself. So because I have done such a poor job keeping this parallel to the sides, I think I'm going to try some gouache. I have some white gouache, and that will work okay, but I may have to pull out some gesso because I really want some of this to be very crisp. So here I go with the white gouache. Gouache is another water-based paint, but it doesn't seem to be showing up very well. So let me just get some. Let's see, it's not covering at all, actually. So I'm going to go and get some gesso. Okay, let's see what the gesso will do. I'm just using this right off the top, as you can see. Oh, all right. As you may be able to tell, after I've made my initial stroke, I'm actually picking up some of that watercolor underneath, which is really not what I want to do. So I've got to be very deliberate in my attempts here. The way the water is falling, it has some very white areas, usually around the top, and then the spray really thins out once it leaves this top area. So I'm going to try to maintain that coloration. I did find some places where my biscuit was still on the paper. So basically, if I just begin at the top and let my pen flow rather quickly, I can establish the same movement of the water. The water in the photograph is not quite as wide coming down as I have it, but it's okay because this is not a photograph, it's a painting, and my painting. So I can pretty much do what I want to, but I do want it to look like a waterfall, or water falling, I should say. Okay, one little tidbit of information when you're working on watercolor paper or on a watercolor painting, you really should keep in mind the size you want this painting to be, because I have something that's somewhat irregular. This paper came out of a 7 by 10 inch watercolor book, and that's a kind of odd shape because it means that my opening is not going to be a standard size. So do kind of mark that out where you want your mat to fit as you're making plans for your painting. I cut my own mats sometimes, so I can make this work and then just order a frame customized to fit. But I'd rather not do that. It's a lot of trouble. I don't like cutting my mats. Okay, so I'm going to call this a day and probably come back later and work on this. It might be that another pen or brush will work better, but we'll see. Thanks again for watching. I'll probably speed up the next installation. So have a good day and I'll be back.